philosophy, sociology, anthropology, ethics, something like that. Our average MCAT's about a 28. Now, if you have a 26 or 25, you have a shot. You have a shot. Like I said, our average is 28. Our science average is about a 3.5. If you have a 3.3, you have a shot. 3.2, you have a shot. Like I said, we're looking at our average. We had a student from the University of Florida 2 years ago that applied to our school, had like a 39 MCAT and a 3.993. He's pissed off because he got a B in something. Poor guy, I feel sorry for him. And he came to our school for an interview, and we turned him down because he scared the hell out of me. This guy had enough knowledge to be dangerous. He came in with the attitude, you don't have to worry about me, I'll teach myself, and I'll do all these things, and you know, he scared me. I've been involved in 11 situations where medical students have hurt, traumatized, or killed patients simply because they thought they knew more than the preceptor when they're on rotations. I bet $1,000 to a penny that he would be number 12. I didn't want to lose $1,000, so I didn't take it. I want students that come with what I call a fire in the belly. Damn it, I want to be a doc, and I'll do what it takes to be a doc. Part of what I call the WIT theory, W-I-T, whatever it takes. That's the person you want in med school. So when you go for med school, you go for your interview, show that you're enthusiastic. Show that you really want to be there. Learn a little bit about the school. Learn a little bit about the curriculum. So when you come there and they say, do you have any questions, you can ask them questions. And seem like you're very, very interested. Maybe not, but you seem like you're very, very interested. You have to have a letter from an osteopathic physician. However, because your boss and I are good friends, if you apply to our school and if you do not have a letter from an osteopathic physician, and if you get called for an interview, email me. Email me. And what I will do when you come through the interview, I'll have you meet with one of our DOs and they will write the letter for you. I can bend the rules. I don't just for any, just a few people. I do for a few people. I can bend the rules, I can't break them. So I'll help you as much as I possibly can. Any questions? Hopefully I didn't bore you guys. Yes, sir.
Do the majority of freshmen or first years at the school go with the problem-based learning curriculum?
In Bradenton, that's the only curriculum we have. In Erie, we have 220 in the lecture discussion. They have 40 in the problem-based learning. And then they have approximately 8 to 10 in the independent study.
So if you're seriously considering problem-based learning, you would recommend applying to the full range?
Yeah, yes, exactly right. Or the one in Seton Hill, it's a brand new branch that we just opened up this year. In Seton Hill, Pennsylvania, that's southeast of Pittsburgh.
Do a lot of DO schools do that, or?
We are the only med school that does this for the most part. It has a whole curriculum, nothing but problem-based learning. At one time, they had a couple ones. University of Ohio used to have one, and they have some of them have special tracks. That maybe like the Erie has 40 students. Well, some of the med schools have some of these tracks as well. It's a very, very expensive way to educate med school students. For the simple reason. If you have 160 students, you only need one faculty to lecture about something. Okay? Well, you're going to be with 7 other students in a faculty member. So it's very, very expensive. And so what we did when we designed the building in Florida, we designed the curriculum first and built the building around the curriculum. We have all these small group rooms for students to be there for the problem-based learning sessions. And so it's very expensive. And you might ask, well, how come the tuition is so low? Well, simply because we have 3 campuses, we have 1 president, we have 1 board of trustees, we have 1 provost, we have 1 person in charge of the library, 1 person in charge of IT, so we can cut back on our expenses. Who saves the money to students?
Can you clarify the problem-based learning? Because I got the impression that you're saying that there's one course that you take that's problem-based learning that meets Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 to 10.
Right.
So you take other courses as well.
Yeah.
And are those your conventional courses?
Those are courses, for instance, you'll take the osteopathic medicine course, you'll get a 1-hour lecture on Tuesday, and you'll get 2 hours of lab on Thursday. You'll get the clinical exam course, you'll get a 1-hour lecture Tuesday morning, and then you'll be working with patients on Tuesday afternoon. And then, you mean like biochemistry and things?
Yeah,
like that? No,
you never have to take a biochemistry course or a immunology course.
Nope.
None of your typical science courses that most med schools make you take your first 2 years. That's,
the only course you take is anatomy.
You do gross anatomy?
Yeah.
So you dissect a cadaver?
What we have pro sections. We divide the class up into groups of 2. So we have 80 students that meet, let's say if the labs is Monday afternoon is anatomy lab for the first 10 weeks. We have groups 1 to 10 will meet from 1 to 3, and groups 11 to 20 will meet from 3 to 5. So you'll actually have some lab. We have four cadavers. That's all we have. That's all we want. Simply because I really don't want you to waste your time slicing and dicing. All you basically do is pick and fat. And so, if you really want to be a surgeon, my thoughts are the best thing to do is you come back in the 4th year. You give one of your elective rotations. You come back to our school, and the anatomist will dissect out the cadavers for the following year. That's the time to really learn how to dissect once you have the anatomy down, rather than just picking fat and mutilating the hell out of tissue, because it's tough to find when it's already mutilated. And so we have the anatomist dissect out the cadavers. They're already prosected up, beautifully displayed, so you can actually see where it's at. But we don't have any biochemistry and physiology. You learn that by means of the cases.
How long does this anatomy course last?
10 weeks. That's all, yeah. And for the last, every year that we were open in Bradenton, using this model, we had the highest anatomy scores of any the medical schools in the country.
How do you deal in these small groups when the group doesn't cooperate? There's personality problems. There's inability to perform as you would like for them to. Kind of share a little bit about that.
What happens, the first group that you're going to be in, let me explain how the whole process of the groups work. You're going to be with the same group for the whole semester. At the end of the semester, you're going to change, you're going to be with a different group. So theoretically, in your first 2 years, you're going to be 4 different groups. Okay? Halfway through the semester, you're going to be with a different facilitator. So maybe for the first, our semesters are 20 weeks long. So let's say for the first 10 weeks, your group, you'll be with the cardiologist. The next 10 weeks, you might be with the biochemist. The next 10 weeks might be for the pathologist and the pediatrician. So you'll be with 8 different facilitators, and you'll be 4 different groups. Now, the groups that do not work, that happens. That happens. But it's up to the group to take order. They're the ones that, and if some student is giving the group a hard time, then it's up to the group to determine what is necessary to put that person in its place. And believe me, they do. They really do. Because you have to realize you're going to get tests. And if one person is causing and disrupting the group, well, the other 7 students are going to be sitting on the students because they don't want to get bad grades in the tests. And that's how it is when you work in practice. You might be in practice with a guy or lady that you just can't work with. Be assigned a 5-year contract, and you hate this person. So you're going to have to learn how to work with these people. And you're going to learn how to criticize these people constructively. And you're going to learn how to accept constructive criticism. But we do have that usually the first semester. First semester we have that probably 1 or 2 groups out of the 20 that are really not an effective group. But towards the end of the first semester, they get real tight. And quite honestly, they're the ones that cry at the end of the first semester because they're moving on to another group, because they had a lot of problems. Remember, you ever read the book, The Lord of the Flies? Well, that's the same thing. You have to learn how to work in a group, how to do things. Your way may not always win. And if you're the belligerent person, you only get one vote, and you can get outvoted by 7 people and facilitator. You're gonna learn real fast. Yes, sir?
Now, you mentioned grades. How's the grading system? Is it pass-fail, or is it,
No.
letter grades?
Yeah. It's 70 and up, 70 to 79 is a C, 80 to 89 is a B, and 90 to 100 is an A. We really don't want pass-fail, for the simple reason, it's very difficult for a residency program to decide what you know. We really don't want pass-fail. We need to pick it up right. Anything else?
Are you saying the facilitators, they are doctors,
Yes.
or they just specialize, or they have done research, or but they, like if you had a biochemist, it would be like a PhD
PhD,
person?
right.
It would be, or
Yes,
not?
yes,
A facilitator
Yes.
could be a PhD
yes,
person?
yes.
Or a facilitator could be a DO that is practicing or has
Right.
practiced, or he's now teaching at the
Right.
school.
Well,
Do
we
you
have,
have some teachers that are actually practicing?
yes,
and
we do.
So they kind of wear two
Yes,
hats?
yes. Yeah, we have, for instance, we have a cardiologist, that's an MD.
So you have MDs
Oh,
actually?
yeah, yeah. We probably have an equal amount of MDs and DOs. Half of our faculty are PhDs, and then 25% are DOs and 25% are MDs. And it's a great blend. It really is. What else? Any questions?
What about visiting the campus?
Sure.
How would that, if someone here wanted to
Email me.
visit?
Email me, you let me know when you want to come down. And if I will not be there, I'll make arrangements for you to get a tour of campus, please come down.
What would you get if they did that? Would they like just be there for a day, or would
Yeah.
they be able to get to go to classes? Would they
We
get
can
to
have you
see
probably
about
sit,
finance?
we cannot have you sit problem-based learning, but we can have you sit if there's any lectures going on, by all means, yes. Yeah. Because when you come for an interview, you will sit in a whole 2-hour session of problem-based learning. Because you have to decide, is this really what I want? It's a very unique way of learning. When you go to med school, for instance, you graduate from college in 4 years with 120 credits. Anybody want to take a guess how many credits our first year of med school is? Guess? 102.5. 102.5. So you're going to work hard, but you're going to learn, we really don't want you to learn medicine, we want you to know medicine. And let me give you an example. A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
Now, how'd you guys know this stuff? Exactly right, exactly right. And that's the exact same thing with problem-based learning. Let's say in the first semester, you have 2 respiratory cases. Okay? So you're going to know you're going to learn the anatomy of the respiratory system. You're going to know the philosophy, physiology. And then you're going to learn probably some pathology of the system. So maybe in the second semester now you have 3 respiratory cases. Well, you probably forgot some of the anatomy, but you probably remembered most of it. So in the second semester, you review this anatomy again, and now you're going to be learning it. In the second year, you're going to have maybe 1 or 2 respiratory cases, and maybe 3 respiratory cases in the second semester. So you're going to learn it, you're going to forget a little bit, but you're going to review it and relearn it, and and eventually you're going to know it. That's the exact same thing like ABCDs. You know, one time you knew the ABCD, you didn't know much after that. You probably did GHI, QLP or something, and you were confused. But the more you did this, the more you learned, the more you sunk in. And that's the exact same like riding a bike. Exact same thing. You know, once you learn how to ride a bike, you know how to ride a bike. If you've not ridden a bike in 20 years, you get on a bike, you can start pedaling around pretty good because you know it. And that's the exact same thing with problem-based learning. You're going to know this stuff. Same thing with swimming. If you haven't swam in 10, 15 years, you fall out of the boat, you could still paddle around the water pretty good, I would think, because you know it. That's the same thing with problem-based learning. You're going to know it.